So when you're a history teacher, that means you care about equipping students for their civic lives as Americans. And when you're a teacher at Southwest Christian High School, then it means you're passionate about discipling young people in the life of following Jesus. And some days those two goals might be a little bit in tension, or it might be like a juggling act. But then there are times when those two goals work together and it becomes deeply powerful. And one of my favorite examples of that is in the words and the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Because King's message was just explicitly Christian, then we at Southwest and students at other Christian schools get to experience and unpack and really understand the full power and the full scope and depth of his prophetic voice for our country. And when we do that, that is one of the joys of my work. And it's why Dr. King matters to me. So I'm going to share two segments from a sermon that he gave 2 months before his death. The sermon is called The Drum Major Instinct. I find this deeply meaningful, and I hope that you will as well. The text for this sermon was in Mark 10, where James and John are arguing over who's the greatest in the kingdom and who gets to sit at Jesus' right-hand side and all that stuff. And King says that while we're inclined initially to condemn the disciples over their pride, he also acknowledges, quote, we have some of those same James and John qualities. There is deep down within us a kind of a drum major instinct, a desire to be out front, a desire to lead the parade, a desire to be first. We all want to be important. One answer to James and John would be to say, you're selfish. Why would you raise such a question? But that isn't what Jesus did. He did something else altogether different. He said, in substance, oh, I see. You want to be first. You want to be great. But Jesus reordered priorities. He said, that's a good instinct if you use it right. That's a good instinct if you don't distort it. Keep feeling the need to be first, but I want you to be first in love. I want you to be first in moral excellence. I want you to be first in generosity. Recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's your new definition of greatness. By giving that definition of greatness, it means everybody can be great because everybody can serve. So King develops this theme for a few additional paragraphs, and then he ends his sermon like this. I'd like somebody to mention at my funeral that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody, that I tried to be right on the war question, that I did try to feed the hungry and clothe those who were naked and visit those in prison, that I tried to love and serve humanity. If you want to say I was a drum major, then say I was a drum major for justice, that I was a drum major for peace, that I was a drum major for righteousness, and all the other shallow things will not matter. Yes, Jesus, I want to be on your right side or your left side, not for any selfish reason, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition, but I just want to be there in love and in truth and in commitment to others.